Fucking hell.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. In keeping with all the Oktoberfest beer that I'm reviewing lately, I decided to pick some of this stuff up against my better judgment. Now, Oktoberfest is a big thing in Germany, and everybody, when they think about Oktoberfest, they think about Munich. But of course, Oktoberfest happens all over Germany, and in the United Kingdom as well. They have Oktoberfest things going on as well. They even have one in Kent, in a place called Moat Park in Maidstone. Went twice, never again. Massive pile of dog shit. It was the biggest fucking rip-off going, honestly. I don't even get me started on that, because I'm going to start shouting and swearing and all that. Needless to say, it was a massive pile of bollocky dog wank. That's the best way, and I'm being complimentary there. And I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to fucking start losing it. Anyway, calm the fuck down. Against my better judgment, I bought some of this stuff. Now, I don't know whether you've seen my review of the Erdinger Weißbräu. Have a look at it. That was done when I first started reviewing beer. And put it this way, it was fucking terrible stuff. I really didn't like it at all. And I have tried their dark beer, the Dunkel, which I thought might be a little bit better. Nah. One characteristic of their beers that I find is the massive Ober. I started talking German now. Fucking hell, stop it. Drinking too much Oktoberfest beer. The massive over carbonation of their beers, and it is really, really obtrusive and abrasive in the mouth. And that put me off. And not only that, the Weißbier, it just doesn't taste nice. It's not like a traditional Weißbier, you know, you haven't got the big banana and clove flavour. I don't know what they're trying to do. It's like they're trying to appease lager drinkers and Weißbier drinkers, and they're appeasing no one. Because for me, honestly, and from Bavaria, they come from Bavaria as well, it just doesn't do anything for me at all. So, against my better judgment, I decided to get some of this stuff. And yeah, it's, you know, and I have tried Oktoberfest beer from the breweries from Bavaria that are not in Munich. And I have to say, the Erdinger stuff was really good. The ABK stuff, it wasn't too bad. And they're the only fest beers that I've tried so far that haven't come from Munich. A mate of mine in Germany has just sent me a photo message of him. He's drinking the Weißstefan Festbier. Of course, they can't call it Oktoberfest beer because it's, you know, they don't come from Munich. But I would love to try that. I bet that stuff is amazing. But I've got to settle for the Erdinger stuff. Now, as I always say in my videos, I am going to take the beer on the strength of the beer. I don't care who brews it. I don't care what the history of the place is. I don't care the reputation of it. To me, it tastes good, I'll tell you if it tastes good. And you know, on the other side of the coin, if it's a really good brewery with a really good pedigree, but the beer's crap, I'll tell you. I'm not sponsored by anyone, and I'm going to keep it that way because I want to give you the most honest review going. Because I see a lot of these beer reviewers, and you know, and they say, "Oh, I got sent this beer by such and such," and you know, it's very complimentary. And then you try the beer, and you think, "Well, fucking hell, really? What are you getting?" You know, well, I know what they're getting. They're getting free beer. I don't want free beer. I mean, as much as I would like to have it, I would rather be honest with you. So, having said that, I really want to give this a good crack in the whip, and you know, if it's a good beer, I will tell you it's a good beer. As it stands, though, I've got a bit of a downer on the beer they've produced so far. So, please prove me wrong, Erdinger. Right, first of all, I'll give you a look at the label. All right, that is quite a nice label, but slight alarm bell is that it's got on the actual label, it's got brewed in Bavaria / Germany. I do think that, you know, if you're going to be brewing stuff, you know, this is a uniquely German festival, even though it's, you know, celebrated in other countries. I think if you're going to be selling that stuff, you should be upholding the great traditions of that and just keeping everything in German. So, you know, that's just my take. Anyway, 500ml bottle. It is 5.7%, so that's in keeping with a sort of a Marzen. I don't know whether that's a Marzen or not. I'm assuming it is. Let's get it open. Right, there's a bit of an alarm bell that's rang with me. I just happened to glance at the back label just before I was about to pour it out, and it's got wheat beer written on there. And I thought it was going to be a Marzen, but then that's me being naive. And I did look on Beers of Europe, where I got that from, and it said it was a lager / Marzen. They've obviously fucked that up, and that's my own fault. I should not have trusted any of them. I should have just done my own research. Anyway, it's a wheat beer. So I've got a wheat beer glass and I'm going to throw it into that. Bear in mind, I don't really like Erdinger wheat beer, so that's not going to influence me at all. If this is a good beer, I'll tell you if it's a good beer. So let's get it open. There's the cap. Yeah, that is a typical Erdinger cap. I'll throw it in the collection. Alright, let's get it in the glass. See, again, I know wheat beer is supposed to have big carbonation, but you know, you can hear that. Look, what we're getting on the nose. They actually don't smell too bad. It's a little subdued, but there's vague aromas of banana and clove on that, which I wasn't getting from the original Erdinger. Let me slosh this around a little bit. Look at that carbonation, can you see it? Yeah, look, that is absolutely fucking going for it in there. Now, one of the worst hangovers I ever had was from drinking Erdinger. And I get a train into work to London, well I used to, not no more because of COVID. But I used to get a train into work and I thought I was going to have a fucking funny turn on the train. And yeah, that was from drinking Erdinger. But I'll tell you something, that doesn't really look like a good wheat beer. That is the perfectly poured wheat beer. That's what it should look like. 3-finger foamy white head, orange in colour, or slightly yellow. Big carbonation. I mean, that is massive though. Look at that. That's fucking huge. And that is making that head really foam up. So let's get it down the hatch. Wish me luck. Fucking hell.
Arse! 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 Sorry, Nick, we're going to have to stop there. I got a slight cough.
Wow, that carbonation is fucking intense, and that's what I remember from the normal wheat beer. I don't know why they do that. I know wheat beer is supposed to have, you know, like a lot of carbonation, but it normally calms down. But this stuff is just fucking insane. again, that is like their wheat beer. It's, I don't know, it just lacks them traditional Bavarian wheat beer flavours. There is a very plasticky, metallic-y taste to this. And do you know what it reminds me of? You know when you get a cap, a beer cap, and it has a plastic backing on the cap, which, you know, it produces a seal. I don't know whether, yeah, you get it on all of them. But if you ever lick the back of a, I wouldn't, well, you know, I did it in my younger days, but you lick the back of a beer cap, you get that, you know, it's like a metallic-y, almost rubber type flavour to it, and it's got that in abundance. It's really weird. You put it in the mouth and it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be, you know, I'm getting the perception of banana and clove. Now I don't know whether this is subconscious, because it, for all intents and purposes, that does look like a wheat beer. There is no doubt about that at all. But the finish on it is just, I don't know, everything's subdued. And it's like that in their Weißbräu as well. I'm really struggling to get that Weißbräu flavour. It is there. The clove isn't there. There is faint banana. I have to say, to its credit, that carbonation has calmed down, and the mouthfeel, you might see it there. I don't know if you can see that, but the carbonation looks like it's going for it. But the mouthfeel is a lot smoother, so they've got that right. But for fuck's sake, there is no real flavour. But it's weird, it's playing tricks on me, because when I drink it, you know, because I'm so used to drinking Weißbräu, I think, oh yeah, I can get the banana flavour, sweet banana flavour, and the clove in there. And then when you sort of swallow it, goes to the back of the tongue, it's like, oh, where's this flavour? It's like everything's, the volume's been turned down to 1 on this. It's really uninspiring, that is. Now, I've tried the Schneiderweiss Festbier, and in my opinion, that is the best they do. That is absolutely sublime. I think it's the pinnacle of light coloured wheat beer. That's the best you can get, in my opinion. And yeah, I am going to compare this stuff, because it is a Bavarian beer. It's a Oktoberfest beer, and they've called it Oktoberfest. Now, I didn't think they was allowed to do that, but they have. Probably me just picking things up wrong, but I only thought it was the Big Six were allowed to use the word Oktoberfest. I thought that had been trademarked. That's what all the other breweries outside of the, you know, the Munich city itself, that's why they call their beer Festbier, or they call it Festmarsen or something like that. But they've called it Oktoberfest, which is that's a bit unusual, but I'm not going to, you know, that's the fucking by the by. But I'll tell you something, if this, you know, and as I say, Oktoberfest is usually, you know, the real cream of the, you know, the brewery do. Or it's one of the best beers, or it should be at least. If this is the best Erdinger do, fucking hell. It's frustrating beer, because you think the flavours are there, but the finish is so disappointing. There is a slight tinge of banana in there. Mouthfeel isn't bad, I will give it that. The mouthfeel is not bad at all. There's no clove. There is no real malt flavour to it that I can discern. It's just like, you know, there is a slight herbal, spicy note to it, but it's so insipid. I'm really having to concentrate. And I shouldn't have to do that because I know what a good German wheat beer tastes like. And this stuff, oh, it's frustrating. That's what it is. Because the mouthfeel is really good on this. And, you know, and I love wheat beer. And, you know, an Oktoberfest wheat beer should be the best that the brewery produces. Now, I've got a downer on their you know, their bog standard wheat beer. I really don't like it at all. I should. Do you know what? I've got a half bottle in the fridge. I should revisit that. But it could be another rant. So do I really want to do that? Yeah, why not? I will do that at some point. But this, I thought, you know, maybe they'll pull out all the stops, but it's like they're scared of flavour. That is disappointing. It really is disappointing. And I was all prepared, you know, if they'd have come up trumps. And even, do you know what, even if it had taken, because this is part owned by Franziskaner, they would have been better just putting a load of Franziskaner in that bottle and calling it Erdinger Oktoberfest beer. And do you know what, I don't mind Franziskaner. That's not a bad wheat beer. It's not the best, but off the shelf, you know, you can get it in Tesco's. It's quite common over here. That is not a bad wheat beer. If they'd have put that in there, I probably wouldn't have known any different. And I'd have said, yeah, wow, that is a really good effort from Erdinger. But they couldn't even do that right. Ah, that's disappointing. So what's the verdict on Erdinger Oktoberfest beer? Well, I thought this was going to be a real good one. I had a downer on their, you know, their flagship wheat beer. I thought it was a pile of shit, to be honest. And it's like there was no flavour in that. That was just like I don't know what it was. I'm not even going to give that the time of day in this review. But I thought they would have pulled out all the stops in this one. And it's like they've just turned the flavour volume up to, you know, 1 or 2 or something. And it's really disappointing because you think, you know, your perception in the mouth is like, oh, this is quite good. I'm getting a bit of banana in there. And the finish is just, well, it's non-existent. And the flavours are non-existent. And no, you know, and what's the Liverpool manager? Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp. His favourite beer is Erdinger Weißbräu. What the fuck does he know? Anyway, why am I having a go at the Liverpool manager when I'm reviewing a fucking beer? I don't know. This is half time at the moment. We're playing Wolves and we're 1-0 up, which is a fucking rarity. So I better cut this short because I've probably missed some of the game there. This ain't great. I'm going to give this, and I'm being generous here, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. That's the best I can do. There's a little bit of flavour there, and if there's nothing else, then this isn't too bad. But if this is the best Erdinger can do, well, you know, they can fuck off. But that's a major disappointment. I was really willing, you know, to forget how bad their flagship Weißbier was, and even the Dunkel. I've tried the Dunkel as well. That isn't fucking great either. I was willing to forget all that if this was good. And you know what? There's consistently fucking shit, in my opinion. That's going to get a very fucking generous 4 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend it. And that's nearly £4 a bottle. I paid £4 for that. I feel fucking cheated. So yeah, that's going to get a 4 out of 10. I ain't going to recommend it. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.